Hey, this is Pam Perry. So today is a show that's going to talk about PR from the standpoint of getting paid for publications, and also about getting featured in publications. They go hand in hand. Why is this important? Because it builds your authority, builds your visibility, showcases your expertise. And we're going to talk all about it. I have something new and exciting that really solves a lot of the PR puzzle, I guess you would say, that people have about certain things. So, right after this, I'm going to give you all the deets. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey there. So, welcome to Get Out There, Get Known. So, I'm going to get right to it. Had a guest today, and you know how I really say the show must go on, right? So, um, Kamanzi, he is in Colombia, and he has a course that talks about how to get paid, and he talks a lot about that. He does this full time. He travels all over the world. He happens to be in Colombia. He can be in Hawaii. He is in Dubai. He's all over the world, traveling, writing with his laptop. And so I really wanted him to give you his backstory, because at one point in time he was very, very, I guess you would say, depressed. He was delivering bread. He was 170 pounds overweight. He lost all of that. Just really trying to find himself. But he has this gift of writing and had something to say. He's written tons of books, sold of like over 150,000 copies of his books as well. But he's a freelance writer. He's a freelance journalist. He writes for different publications, and you can do the same thing. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because if you have a message, a burning message that you want to get out to the world, or you've written a book, or there's something that is your signature talk, then this is where you should jump off of social media so much, even though you're watching me here, but actually start typing and getting your message out to the different publications, whether they're Business Insider, which is online, or Fortune, Entrepreneur, Forbes. They all take different things. And there's tons of websites that is looking for content. I'm not talking about content farming. I'm talking about real live content that really improves the lives, that is in authority links. So, explaining to you about authority links before I get too deep into this, there are websites that get no traffic, they have no authority. Then there's a website like New York Times that gets a lot of authority. So, say New York Times website has a index of authority, for domain authority, of 100. And then say somebody who just started a website, little crazy website, just bought the domain, that has 0. So what you want to do when you're looking and researching, this has to do with being found in Google, is being booked on websites that have a high domain authority. Does this sound like a whole lot like, oh my God, Pam, where are you talking? Where are you going with this? Getting out there, get known means you really need to get out there and get known and be found in Google. Be Googleicious. So I'm starting really a new type of PR, I guess you would say, that really helps people get out there, get known, because digital publicity, meaning traditional publicity, is where we're really all going. Getting featured in publications is very important. Obviously, telling your message, but really making sure that you're found and that you're showcasing your expertise at the same time. Speakers Magazine is one of those magazines that is a high authority magazine. It is in 2 different places. It has content on the website as well as in the issue, and it has a TV show. The TV show is on Roku, thanks to I Define TV. And then there's a lot of different ways where you can get high authority links. Writing articles. You can see this one particular article was written on speakers, why every speaker should embrace email marketing, or how every speaker can leverage media interviews. Someone had to write the story that gives them a backlink. This one is why every speaker should have a book. Bridget and McDowell, we talked about that. McGowan talked about that today, why every speaker should have a book. This one, Our Black Year, this one talks a little bit about Maggie Anderson. Stephanie Mills is on the cover, but talks about top ways you're leaving money on the table. Speakers, I just really want them to understand that they are leaving money on the table if they're speaking all the time, running around speaking, but not writing, not really putting their content in what I call high authority websites, websites that have domain authority. We call it, domain authority. So anything that is maybe 50 and above, the higher towards 100, the better it is. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. And so it can be something as simple as writing for one of my clients, Nicole Roberts Jones, writes for Addicted to Success. The process for a lot of these different sites that you want to write for to get paid, and also for backlinks or exposure. So I'm going to put this in both sides, right? Exposure is one way so that you can get clients and get booked, sell your programs, sell your books, all that kind of thing that really positions you as your brand. And then you definitely have a backlink. That's an authority that goes back to your website. Your website then converts. But then there's a whole nother side for a freelance journalist. And I have tons of friends that are freelance journalists. I myself is in a National Association of Black Journalists, was my major in school, and I've run a lot of different magazines and that sort of thing, and worked as a freelance journalist for different publications, from Christianity Retailing to Gospel Today to obviously I had a newspaper before, Soul Source, and then I also have Speakers Magazine, which is 5 years old. But the main thing is that you can then be paid as a freelance person. One tool that I really want people to get, if they don't get it, is the Writer's Digest. The Writer's Digest is kind of like the Bible of for writers, right? It's the Writer's Digest. They'll list all the publications. You could Google it too as well, but you can actually buy the book or Google all the publications, what they're looking for, their specs. They'll tell you what their specs are, and they'll also tell you how much they pay. So they'll pay, say for instance, I'm just making this up. It's probably more than that now, but say Essence may pay $1 a word, right? Maybe it's $2 a word now, but if they pay $1 a word, you write 1,000 words, that's $1,000, right? And it has to make sense. So what do you do? What's the process of that? What's the process of that? You see all these freelance writers and things like that. What is the process of that? I will say there's one thing that you should always make sure is that you are learning from someone who's been there, done that for a while. Someone who's been there, that's done that for a while. I ran for 10 years the American Christian Writers Association, and I've probably helped over 3,000 different authors and speakers with promoting their book, and also helping them get published by connecting them to the right partners. Partnership is a big thing for me. And promoting is really like the key. But the main thing, to amplify your message, to market, to really get your brand out there, you have to make sure that you are learning from someone. People don't pay you for what you do, they pay you for what you know. So the more that you have the information that you know, I would say this is the way you're going to leverage it to make the most money. You have a framework of what you know, and then you're actually sharing that information out, not necessarily doing the task. Doing the task writing is fine. But one of the things that Kamanzi does is that he also teaches the framework about how to write articles. I teach people how to do PR, how to write pitches, through my Branding Accelerator program and through the Ready, Set, Go Speak program, how to do it yourself. Now, the thing sometimes a lot of speakers don't want to do is do it themselves. They just want to just go and speak. But if you're speaking, you can have, and I'm sure you've rehearsed, you can record yourself and have it transcribed. And some of that material can be used as content for articles. So we're walking content machines. We have messages that we want to amplify. We have things that we want to get out there. We want to share our lessons. We want to really become that leader, that authority. We want to gain the visibility. We've got to stop creating just social media posts and get them into what I call authority domains, putting them in authority domains so that people can find it, that are looking for things. They're looking for different titles of things. And so it is not just your blog, because we're probably blogging, but maybe putting it in Authority Magazine, or maybe making sure that it's in HuffPost, or making sure, uh, like I said, addicted to Success, which Dr. Nicole Roberts Jones writes for them as well. So I don't want to make sure that you don't get, what's the word, scammed, because a lot of times there, if you're not sure of something, that's why having a coach really helps. If you're not sure of something, that's when you need to have someone explain the industry today. Oh, good. Hey, Ricky. You need someone to explain this whole way where digital PR is really changing. And you can pay to play, meaning that you can pay and have a, I guess you would say sometimes it, don't want to step on any toes. And I don't want to say like, these things are scam, but you could be a part of like the Forbes Coaches Council, or maybe be entrepreneur, or other quote unquote big brands. Sometimes they have this things where you pay like a yearly, or even brands, you pay like a yearly fee to be a part of their membership. And then because you're a member, you can write articles for them. That's different from getting paid by the publications. Because remember, I said Writer's Digest has a book this thick, and I've had several of them. They come out every year, of all the publications, what they're looking for, their specs, how much they pay, who to contact, with the email, bada bada bada, right? And it's divided by women's magazines, business magazines, youth magazines, ministry magazines. I mean, so, and there's also one for the Christian writers market. If you just want to write for publications for Christian publications, they have all of those in there, as well as publishers as well. So I won't say it's just all publications, but there's also publishers in there. It's the market, it's agents in there, literary agents in there. So if you're going to be in this space, you're going to need someone to really listen to, take you by the hand, show you from example, really pay attention to the things that they're doing. If you go to pamperrypr.com, you'll see I'll have different programs where you can actually put a press release out as well. And the press release is a legitimate press release that you put on the wire. Wires are just new, not new per se. I'm an OG PR person, but it's new from the standpoint that people think that just by putting it out on the wire, that it's automatically going to get picked up and people will call you for the CNN or the Oprah interview. That's not really what that's for. The wire services make sure that you're found in Google. Because if you're not found in Google, you don't exist. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you. She said, it's next level information. And I love this stuff. I could talk about this, Ricky, all day, because PR has changed. Like, I've been doing this 20 plus years in my own company, and then 10 years before that. So it's like 30 years, right? So roughly a little bit more. Oh my God. So it has changed from when we were writing press releases, and then we would call, we would email, we would fax. But to today, the PR game has changed in terms of really just getting visible. One, because the internet has really changed a lot of it. But the other thing is that Google is like the standard in terms of visibility. What's on that first page of Google? A lot of times, if you were ever featured in New York Times or the Detroit Free Press, that's a high authority link. It's hard to really take that off. You can't take it off. So the only thing that you can do is try to get another high authority link to push that down from page one. It probably won't ever go away, but you want another high authority link to push all of the things down. And then other links are important too: your Twitter account, your website, your blog. I don't want this to be an SEO class, but it does matter in terms of what shows up on Google on page one. And also make sure that you put yourself on Google Alerts so you will know when things are happening, so that you can manage your reputation. Brand reputation is very important. Reputation management is very important. So you want to make sure if you want to do a press release, they go and they get indexed in Google and Bing and all of that, but they can also go on the APY or Associated Press. They can also go into Yahoo Finance. I've had clients that just this week, Rashawn, he was in about 5 different sites, right? Hustleweekly.co, and then I had another client on ATL Wire. They were there. We had Letitia Nicole on the American Business sites. Kadena was on CEO Weekly. Those are sites that their stories written about you. You got to have something newsworthy, obviously, and you got to have the right look, meaning pictures. That's where the branding comes in. But the story stays there, and it's a link that you can share out on social. It's a link when people Google you, they can find, they can see what you're about and what you're doing. That's different than writing for publications when you're pitching a topic or a story to them. Like if I want to pitch a story to, say, Essence, just give an example about, and maybe do a roundup article of the different celebrities of how they feel about the new Wakanda Forever movie versus Woman King. You know, and basically, maybe a roundup is like you round up about maybe 12 or 13 different opinions and you kind of put it together in a roundup article. I don't even know if Essence takes roundup articles. I know that's the kind of things that I used to do for other magazines. But you can pitch a topic to the magazine, to the editor, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. These are the sources that I'm thinking. How this is how many words. What will be the cost for you to pay me to write this for you? Because the truth of the matter is newspapers and magazines, all publications are short staffed. So that's why they use stringers or they use freelancers to really fill in the gap, because it continues every single month. The publisher can't write everything. I don't write everything in Speakers Magazine. I do not write everything. I cannot. I'm doing the one thing. I'm doing the publishing. So you need other people to write the articles for you. You know, whether it's Dr. Tizens Kimber or Judge Leonia Lloyd, you know, those are the things that this one says, is imposter syndrome standing in your way of success? And this one was written by Stephanie Callahan. And Stephanie writes pretty regularly for Speakers Magazine. And when you go to Stephanie's website, you'll see on her website are the places where it says featured in or articles I've written for. And all of her articles are there. She has a link there. And what does that do? It does for Stephanie is that she has more, really, you can find her more authority, visibility, credibility. All of those things matter when people want to work with her. It's like, okay, Stephanie just can't work in a cave. Who knows her? What has she done? And that's where we actually use the material for our writings. And sometimes, I mean, she teaches about how to get over imposter syndrome. Anyway, this one young lady here, her name is Christy Love. So Christy Love, she talks about the speaking circuit, how I broke in the speaking circuit. So obviously publications like Speakers Magazine, we're looking for articles that would make sense for people who are in the speaking business or want to get into the speaking business. So those are the things that you can pitch me and say, hey, I'd like to write a story on this was March for Women's Month, how to live out your faith as you build your profitable business. All right. So that was one that was someone pitched me as well. So every single month, the show goes on. Got to roll with it. We need stories. You have content. You supply your content. You either pitch your content. Hey there. Hey, Mark. You pitch your content to a publisher or an editor, or you actually put out a press release where you're featured on the site, or you go to a publicist like what I am, and then we pitch you to stories out as well. And that's really like the 3 areas that people really do. It says these days you have to be the media, you have to be in the media to get featured in the press to optimize visibility. That is so true, Mark Anthony Dyson. You do have to be in the media and get featured to optimize your visibility. And once you're in there as well, I mean, social media, love it. Obviously, that's what I'm on right now. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. But the whole point of getting all of the press and you know, whether it's radio or TV and print, you know, magazines, and news sites as well. News sites are things like AP or Yahoo Finance. You know, there are other like news sites as well. ERU Web is a news site as well. I have people placed on there. But you want to make sure that you don't, what's the word I want to say? That you don't just let it lay there. Okay, so you've been featured in this thing and you're just like, oh, okay, that's good. But you have to leverage it. You have to continue to promote it. You have to do what Stephanie does. She puts it on her website. Stephanie Callahan puts it on her, not Stephanie Callahan. Oh my goodness, that's the other Stephanie. I know too many Stephanies. Um, not that Stephanie, but anyway, you want to make sure that you're leveraging it, putting it in your social media, putting it in your email, put it in your newsletter. So to get an example of how that looks, you can go to PamPerryPR.com or Speakers Magazine, more so Speakers Magazine, speakersmagazine.com, and see how I leverage the content from the speakers to put them in the newsletter and how they're shared in reels and put them on TikTok. And I mean, there's just so many creative ways to really share and leverage the content that you have to make sure that you're doing that. And Stephanie, yeah, it was Stephanie Callahan. Yeah, it was. That's her. I want to make sure I gave Stephanie her props. Is imposter syndrome standing in the way of your success? There it is. So Stephanie Callahan, if you go to talkwithstephanie.com, you'll see on Stephanie's website how she leverages all her podcasts, all her print pieces, all of her television interviews, all of her live. I mean, it is amazing. I do the same thing, but I'm not trying to promote me. I'm trying to promote my clients, but I show as an example on pamperrypr.com/media how to leverage it, because the more incoming links you have on your website, the more you're going to have your website rise to the top and be found in Google. I will always say, I said in the last interview with Bridget McGowan, that you need to Google yourself incognito so you can see how people will find you, not you yourself, because it's on your device, but how the general public, Joe Blow, will find you in Google if they put in your name. All right. So I always say this is old school, but always by your name.com. Mine is PamPerryPR.com, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing that. Yeah, PamPerryPR.com. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. So that was really it. I want to say how to get into the publications, right? How to you get in? You can go to the press release wire services. I have a link that'll be in the show notes where you can actually do that as well. There's a special I'm having for a short time for to do that. You can also do the different other publications that I know that can get you in, like I do with Dr. Nicole Robert Jones, where she's actually put in publications. She's given a backlink, or you can pitch them directly and get paid, which is what I wanted Kim Monzi to actually talk about. But like I said, Writer's Digest, get that particular book. You can see exactly what the publications are looking for, who to contact, and how much they pay. Sometimes they're like $1 a word. Sometimes they're $2 a word. So it just depends. Obviously, the larger the publication, like AARP is a very large publication, has over 1 million subscribers. So the larger it is, the more it will pay. So I think they're probably paying like $250 a word, right, for AARP. But if you don't have anything to say to AARP, or you're not like a journalist and can write for AARP, then that's not one to pitch. So there are thousands and thousands of publications that are looking for your message. You can be a regular contributor for a newspaper. I just interviewed on Get Out There, Get Known, the Washington Informer. Denise, the publisher, said, yes, we're looking for people who will write columns. And so I always say, I said, there's so many places where we can put our content, but we're all trying to just scream and yell on Instagram or Facebook. Like, get into real publications. The Washington Informer is over 100 years old, right? So you want to make sure, I think it's over 130 years old, actually, out of the Washington, D.C. area. So you want to make sure that you are putting your content in places where there are authority links, where there are authorities and where it matters, where it gives you authority and there's an authority link, meaning it's reputable, it's an integrity type of website. And so the thing with Rashawn and Letitia Nicole, all of them now have pieces of art out with their picture on it on the website, and they're in there. It's on my Instagram, showing the pictures of them as well. Lambert's Fisher, again, he has that. But it's a way for you to really make sure that people know your story, know your message, know you, like you, and trust you. because the more they hear you, see you, listen to you, the more they will understand what your message is about, who they can refer you to. I say that a lot of times people say, well, what is your main message? It's been consistent for the last 20 years, PR. I promote, which is what the P is for in my name. I amplify, which is what the is for in my name. And I market. So I'm promoting, amplifying, marketing the message and the brand for people. Dr. Pam helps people with their brand. It kind of rhymes here a little bit, like get a little rap going on. Uh, but that's the key, is really being consistent and focused. Make a list of maybe, say for the new year, 12 publications that you would like to see your byline in or be featured in. So there's a difference of seeing your byline in and being featured in one. If you want to be featured in one, obviously that's what I can help you with Pam Perry PR. If you want to pitch, then that's a whole nother thing. You get the Writer's Digest. There's a list. I'm actually putting out a planner of different places where you can actually pitch and get into their different magazines and publications and websites as well. So it's really, really cool. I love how everything is shifting and changing. It's going up. It keeps it exciting for me. That's why I like this field. It's always changing. For the 20 plus years I've been doing this, it's always something new and different. And staying on the cutting edge is very, very important. We get a lot of our clients. Dr. Bisa was in Authority magazine. She was just on Sirius XM. She was, it's different. There's podcast networks. All of this is places where you're showcasing your authority and your expertise. But you do need someone that you listen to that will coach you and kind of hold your hand through that, so that you're not overwhelmed or just yelling in the echo chamber, right? So those are the really main things, that knowing your market, knowing who you're talking to, sharing your expertise, leveraging that expertise, getting clients, getting paid, right? Getting out there, getting known. It doesn't make sense if you're not getting paid, right? Because people can know you, but then you're still not getting paid. So with that, I just want to tell everyone, make sure that you go to pamperrypr.com. There are some new things that are going on, the press release service, the also getting featured in the major media outlets, whether it's the ABC, the NBC, the CBS, all of those different sites. I can put you in those with your story, and then also to getting in Speakers Magazine as well. So make sure that you sign up, because there's going to be something dropping about that real soon. I'm excited about it because it's a lot of things that are changing, and I'm telling you, if you listen to me, I'm always on it. I'll be the first one to tell you, said this is what's up, this is what's new, and get on it. People said, well, how many people do you have on Twitter or whatever? I said, I have 25,000 people on Twitter on one account. I said, why? Because I was the first one on there. So it pays to be an early adopter. Not that you have to jump on everything, but when you're listening to someone and you want to really shape your brand, listen to one person. Don't get all confused and go into different places. But I've been doing this for a while, so would not steer you wrong. I had a couple of new books I want to talk about. Where are they? Oh, not new, but this particular book here. For those who are just listening to the audio, don't see the book, but I love it. It says, Refuse to be Talented and Broke, 10 Keys to Unlocking Your Creative Earning Potential by Delano A. Johnson, forward by my former client, Dr. Miles Monroe. Love him, miss him. But I think this is a book worth getting. A lot of content creators, a lot of creatives are talented and broke. So this talks about how you can refuse to doing that, right? Delano has done so many things here. He gives you reasons why. One of the reasons, I'll just give you a little sneak peek. It says you don't have a team or too many spectators, or you don't have a team or you have too many spectators in your life. Okay, so a lot of people need to have a team. Had a conversation this morning about getting your teams together. So with that, I am just going to end on that. This book is available on Amazon. You definitely can make sure. I'm going to make sure that Delano comes back and we talk about the book as well. It is an excellent book. There's another book that I got today. Michelle Obama's book was the other day. You probably saw my Instagram on that one. But this one here is called Hype. And I don't know if you all ever saw that movie called Fire. It was about Fire Island. So this was the executive producer of that Netflix documentary. But this book is called Hype. I will tell you about this later. I had just got in the mail, so I'll let you know about that. But I love that movie. It was actually a true story. So if you don't know about Fire Island and all that, how the Instagram thing just became like a big scam. And anyway, kind of like it, the Anna movie just not too long ago. So anyway, that has nothing to do with getting in publications, but I just love books and I'm always going to talk about books. If you want to be featured on my Amazon Live, shoot me an email through PamPerryPR.com. All right. And we can get you on there if you've written a good book. So I got to make sure it takes a book test. Okay. With that, I will talk with you later. We will talk to you. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch.